Welcome back to the Great Culture Wars in EU4. And one thing I just wanted to mention is that except for the Obertengi family, there are, well, except for the Obertengi family and the one Galician province of Garb, the Catholics have been completely pushed out of North Africa. So Morocco, Tunis, and I guess to an extent the Syrians have done a really great job of clearing this. We now have just Sunni here, except for obviously the Tuscan and Occitan holdings that are still Catholic, but are ruled by the same family. So that's kind of interesting to me. Now, other than that, we should probably have a look at decolonization a little bit, because I haven't done that. But before we do that, I just saw that this war has finished. The Silesians have taken 3 provinces from the Polish. Had they give up anything else? No, I think that was it. And maybe 1 to the Hungarians. Yes, the Hungarians did take 1 province as well. So they're getting ready to hold off the Turkish invasion. And that means the only war we've got going on is the one that the Scots have declared. And they will just take over Reykjavik. I don't think that will take much else. Perhaps they'll give something back to the Swedes. In fact, they probably have to, because the Swedes lost actually 2 more provinces to the Highlanders in the previous war. So we'll see. Perhaps that's going to happen. But for the rest, yeah, for the most part, it's just going to be Reykjavik that will change hands. But anyway, we should have a look at the colonization, because Egypt has really done a great job here in the sort of Gujarat area, where they have established the Egyptian Western India, and they're doing a good job. I mean, let's quickly check out the trade they've got. They've got 1, 2 centers, 3 centers of, well, 2 centers of trade and a estuary right there. They've got another center of trade down there under their control, and then the rest is I think under control of the Syrians right now. They've got 1, 2, 3 centers of trade and then 1 estuary. This center of trade no one was really interested in, but yeah, I mean, it's just the Syrians and Egyptians here. It's really just those 2, nobody else, and they really they really get to pick what they want. Now, the Egyptians have obviously invested in some lands up here. I'm not entirely sure why. Maybe they needed iron. No clue. This seems to be their home base that they want to establish. They want to establish themselves in Oman now, which, isn't really a bad idea. If they can hold the Straits of Hormuz here, with that center of trade there, and they have another center of trade here in Muscat, they really have a strong control over the trade flowing into Europe, and obviously it is not too difficult to defend. But they're obviously standing up against the Syrians. If they ever get an interest in taking over lands here, which I don't think they will just yet, because they have no real way of getting their army over. They will have to walk that army through the desert, or they would have to get ships, either build ships here or get them all across Africa. So I think we're not really going to see a war between the Egyptians and Syrians anytime soon. But I just wanted to mention it, that the Egyptians still have a little bit of time left to build up, but they should do it. They should not just lay low and do nothing. They should really build up their power here. But yeah, now other than that, we have the Syrians colonizing some of these islands here in the Indian Ocean. They also have Makassar, which means the Syrians are the first. Well, they're the second in in Indonesia, but I think this is more the Spice Islands. So yeah, Pasai, which is a center of trade, has been taken by the Egyptians, and Makassar, which is also a center of trade, has been taken by Syria. Other than that, Syria are the first ones to reach China, and they've got the coastal center of trade and estuary for them. Really nice. So the Syrians, they've got the world open to them, because the Sami, Razanians, Crimeans, even Albanians, they are encroaching on China and Japan and these lands. But since they're going to have to take the land route, it will take much longer for them. We have no Australia yet, but really, Australia is not that important if you have all of Asia for you. Anyway, we've got also the Tuscans over here, who established themselves here in Southeast Africa, and then we've got the Galicians taking over the Cape, and that is probably going to be their new home once they are fully kicked out of Europe. The Portuguese, they established their empire here in kind of the Congo basin, with Luango as their capital, and the Aragonese, So basically, the Aragonese and the Portuguese, they're the ones who got exiled and who have now started a new life in Africa, and they're doing well for themselves. And I think the Portuguese are even doing better than the Aragonese because they are so close to the Moroccans and obviously always losing. So for the most part, the Portuguese should be doing fine. If they get to colonize all of this, that would really make them powerful. But yeah, we'll obviously have to check that out. And yeah, the Leonese, they're not waiting at all. They are now going to war with the Catalans, the Burgundians, and the Maltese, which, by the way, are reduced to their starting province of Malta. They want that land back. They really want to unite their peninsula, and I really want them to succeed in that as well. Now, the Burgundians, just for a moment I was thinking, where is the Leonese army? Well, it's already in Burgundian territory, so it's not really a big surprise yeah, it's not really a big surprise that they're here. Now, who has this? The Leonese hired a Gascon army. Okay, that's running around 28,000 men. Alright, that's good. So at least the Gascons and Leonese are getting along somewhat. Not perfectly, they're not allied or anything, but at least they're willing to hire troops. So that's nice to see. Other than that, let's check out what's going on. Ooh, English Succession War. Yeah, that is good. We'll check that in a second. But first, let's see what the Scots have taken. So they did manage to unite Iceland. Very nice. And the Swedes got their provinces back, just as I expected. Now this makes this look more hideous, but you know, it's fine. Other than that, I think that was pretty much all of the news we've had. So yeah, let's check out these other wars. Now, first of all, we've got the Portuguese and Aragonese against the Ashanti. This time it looks like they're winning, and they'll finally get rid of that. Very nice. They still have, they still have to take a few provinces back that the Ashanti took previously. We've got the Leonese together with the Bretons fighting the Catalans, Burgundians, and Maltese. So yeah, it's basically Burgundy against the Leonese. But we see Leon hiring Gascon forces. We've got the Romanians together with the Turkish, Franconians, and Piedmontese against the Swiss, Gascons, and Austrians. This is interesting. This is actually a really interesting war. But I think, yeah, Piedmont, Franconia, and the Romanians against the Swiss and Austrians. Austria and Swiss are going to fall. Even with the Gascons involved, I don't think they can really turn the tide. I think the Swiss are going to get crushed. The Romanians will get their provinces back, and that's basically it. Especially, yeah, and don't forget the Turkish. The Turkish are in this as well. It's basically a 3-on-3 here, and I would already say that the Green Alliance would win. But then with the Turkish forces, yeah, alright. But anyway, I think I've teased everyone enough, even myself, with this English succession war. We've got the Leonese fighting the Scots, the English, and the Irish. Now, if we have a quick look at this, I mentioned that the Irish and Leonese have the same dynasty, but we had the same dynasty for the Scots and English for a long time, and it finally happened. It finally happened. The Scots have a personal union over the English, and that's a big deal. That's a big deal. So we could have seen a war, but it was the Scots, out of all of them, who said no. We defeated the Highlanders, we eventually killed off the Welsh, and that is it. The Irish, Scots, and Englishmen, we will not fight each other. The Scots decided, no, we're going to ally the Irish and the English both, and therefore they kind of kept, they've kept the islands peaceful for a very long time. They could prosper, and now it finally happened. We've got the same ruler ruling over the English and the Scots, and I must say the Scots are powerful enough that they will keep control of the English until the end of the game. And if they win this war, of course, if they win this war, which I think they will, because there's no way that the Leonese are going to be able to send troops on the land, on the British Islands, and then defend against the combined armies of the English, Scots, and Irish. There's just no way that's going to happen. So they will win this war. They will keep their personal union over the English, and since they've got 200 years left, they are most definitely going to be able to inherit them, because I don't think the English can grow. The English cannot grow any stronger. They only have these provinces, nothing else. And the only thing the English can do is obviously colonize. They can colonize more provinces. But this was a major power play by the Scots, because English Brazil will then be their colonial nation. And even though the English culture right? It's not the Scottish culture. If English Brazil will then become a colony of the Scots, which I think that actually will happen. I'm not entirely sure actually, but if that happens, I would still say that the Scots will get half the development, maybe a fourth of the development only because it's a different culture. I'll have to think about this a little bit, but we'll have to check that out. But anyways, regardless, I think this is really cool. They managed to basically unite. Well, they basically united the main islands, except for whatever the Irish hold up here, under Scottish rule peacefully. And that's really nice to see. That's really nice to see. But yeah, we see some big battles here. Austrians have been defeated. There are Turkish forces in Burgundy. Oh my god, that is just terrible to see. Look at that. And they're kicking butt. They're kicking butt. They're really kicking around these Franconians. Actually, never mind. Franconians are on the same side. No, but they're kicking the Austrian and Gascon butt here. I like to see that. Now, the Saxons managed to take their last core back from the Pomeranians. I am not sure how that happened, but they came back. I mean, they were almost gone, if you might remember. And then they were like just like one little province. They grew a little bit bigger, then they were reduced in size again. Someone also took care of the Rhenish. This may have also been the Saxons right now. So yeah, they look really nice. They've cleaned up some of the smaller nations. They'll probably go after the Czechs soon. I mean, it just depends now. They still have powerful allies, so it probably won't do that. But they still have some cores left. Even yet, they still have 2 cores that they need to take. And they look nice. They were really reduced into size. They made a comeback. They made a real comeback. Yeah, other than that, we have Liguria has now fallen completely to the Romanians here. And you are now in a war. What is this war all about? Probably to take Umbria. So you've got the Occitans, the Tuscans, and the Neapolitans on your side. You're fighting Venetians, which are just, abysmal. And you've got, you're basically probably going to kill off the Lombards by taking Milan. You'll take a lot more stuff from the Umbrians, and perhaps even you'll punish the Piedmontese. And yeah, so the Romanians, as I said, they look like they're going to unite Italy under their rule, and that would be really nice to see as well. They did take a few provinces from the Swiss. They took Trent and Tyrol, and they didn't actually take their cores back. That is interesting. They didn't take their core from Austria for some reason. Huh. But anyway, that's, I guess, not that important. Let's check out the wars that we have got going on. Neapolitans. Oh, the Neapolitans declare war on Umbria. This is not even the Romanians. Huh. The Maltese are involved in this as well. We've got the Galician-Louisiana War for Independence. So it's New Galicia and Galicia-Louisiana. Yeah, well, there was no way they're going to hold their colonial nation. Now, the Moroccans are actually helping them out, but I don't think they're really going to be able to do much here. The Leonese are heavily losing this war. Now, the only problem I have is that they're quite likely going to be forced to give up some random province in Iberia. I hate that. I hope what's going to happen is, I hope that they're being forced to give like this one province up here in I hope that they will have to give up this one, because this wouldn't really bother me. But if they have to give up, like this province or this one, that would really suck. So I hope this is not going to be too bad for them. But yeah, so we'll see the Scots rule the Englishmen. Interesting. I like that though. I actually kind of find that funny. Yeah. So that's that. Anything else? We've got Ashanti. Yeah, right. The Ashanti got defeated. The Portuguese took basically everything. They took 2 provinces here, and I took another 3 up here. So yeah, that's the end of the Ashanti. Perhaps even the Andalusians are going to take something over. In fact, you know what? Maybe the Aragonese even took something from the Ashanti? No, they did not. They did not. Still, that's fine. As long as the Aragonese and Portuguese work together, it's good for them. We've got the Leonese landing in English Brazil. It's certainly a smart move, because, there's no way you're going to land in the British Isles, and you've still got a lot of lands back at home. You did take Teruel, so now the Leonese are back to what they owned previously. They haven't made any progress, or at least they've took everything back that they owned before. And now they just got to get out of this war with the Scots. Let them rule over the English. There's nothing you can do about that. So yeah, you guys are gonna get your independence, that's for sure. The Neapolitans want Rome. Now you actually gotta do something for that though. You haven't actually occupied anything yet. This is not even a fortress. And the only fortress we have is Abruzzi. Should be able to take that. But yeah, the Occitans are actually being occupied by the Piedmontese. They might be forced to leave this war soon. And surprising, the Lombard capital hasn't been taken yet. There's a big war in Genoa going on, but it looks like the attackers are going to be victorious here. Yeah, the Romanian side of the war. Okay, so the Swiss, very small. They look very, very tiny, and they're going to be gone soon, I would assume. Surprisingly, the attackers are sending an army to deal with Venice. I would have just ignored them, to be honest. But I guess they're easy enough to deal with, so they might as well just quickly siege them out. And now the last fortress has fallen. As soon as Roma falls, we obviously get the ticking war score in favor of the Neapolitans. And maybe more importantly, they actually have control over that province and can demand in the peace deal. Okay, so for some reason they haven't taken it yet. They did white peace or whatever, peace out Venice. Now it's just Rome that's got to fall. How's that so difficult? And there we are, finally. Alright, so we might see a peace here soon. Wouldn't be too surprised about that. It looks as if... Okay, cool. So the Leonese managed to peace out. They didn't have to give up anything. I like that. They're only allied to the Bretons though. So they lost... Obviously they lost their Irish alliance in this, which is a little bit of a shame. The Bretons are not really a worthy ally at all. So it's the Leonese alone. Of course, they're number one, they're very powerful, but they gotta be careful. They gotta get some friends, either Franconians or maybe Tunisians or anyone, really. But being alone, not too cool. Not too cool. But yeah, let's check out what we've got going on. These are the only wars we have, really? Alright, so we'll see some independent colonies, and that's about it. We'll have independent colonies. Alright, so the Bulgarians. Now the Bulgarians actually did a really good job. They were not being cut off by the Syrians here. So that meant they managed to reach coast here. And that means they could participate in the Spice Island trade if they get some colonists up here. And, you know, it's possible. Okay, so we've got all kinds of people arriving here. We've got the English and Scottish settling right next to each other. Oh, that's kind of cute. I like that. Well, it makes sense. I mean, they're being ruled by the same family, so might as well. But yeah, this is quite amazing for the Scots, because as soon as they manage to full annex until they manage to integrate the English, they will get this under their belt as well. And they should at least, I'm not entirely sure yet, as I said, if they get half the English Brazil development or only a fourth of it. But regardless, it's going to be a huge boost to their own development. And I think the Scots might actually be a great power now. No, they're still not. Okay. Oh, that's... Well, I guess it's because they're also getting only half of the development from their... from their vassals. Now, we have the Treaty of Tordesillas in place for the Occitans here in La Plata. Let's actually go ahead and check out the colonial region. So La Plata, Treaty of Tordesillas will favor the Occitans. We've got obviously English for Brazil. We've also got the Occitans, I think, Occitan Colombia is also the ones that have the Treaty of Tordesillas here in Colombia. If I could click on something here, there we are. So 130 a year, that's really cool. But yeah, Treaty of Tordesillas. So they have a lot of the nations, a lot of the regions locked down. So once again, they've got Colombia and La Plata. Peru is still open, but it looks like the only contestants are the Leonese, so they will get that under control. And Brazil was taken by the English. Now the West Indies under control of the Leonese as well. Mexico also the Occitans, and the Galicians took the East America and Louisiana colonies. And my mouse is acting up again. Wow, what the heck is... What is that? I can't move it. I cannot really move it properly. Alright, well... That's great. Now, I'm not meaning to do that. Alright, fine. I guess I'll end this episode here if I can. Thank you so much for watching. I can't click it.